Hey, Living Stones Church, Pastor Kirk with Pastor Josh here, and we are here today to talk a little bit about the upcoming sabbatical that Josh has coming after Easter. And so our goal in this video is just to kind of prepare our church because many of you, of course, have deep affection for Josh, as I do, and we're going to miss him for a 3-month period on a sabbatical, but it's important to understand why he's doing this, why we do this as a church. And so we wanted to take some time and just talk a little bit about the concept of sabbatical. And so really, if you put the words together, I mean, this is a simple equation. If you put the words together of sabbatical with Sabbath, you kind of get the idea of what sabbatical is about, right? It's about rest. And so we'll start there, I guess, and we'll just have a conversation about what sabbatical is, and then what you're going to be doing, what your desires are, what your hopes are, and then going into maybe some details for the church to kind of prepare them, because it's a thing for our whole church that we'll experience together, and it's not just for you, it's actually for the good of the church long term. And so let's just talk about sabbatical and Sabbath. Anything else you want to say about just like your understanding of the theology of Sabbath real quick for folks to understand?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, generally this is a extended period of time of rest and rejuvenation to be able to really press into my relationship with the Lord, dig deep into my soul, ask difficult questions about how I am doing, in my relationship with the Lord, in my relationship regard to ministry, family, those kind of things. And those are things that are for, especially for people in ministry, are difficult questions to answer in the midst of continually pouring yourself out in ministry. And so sabbaticals, like the purpose is to be able to pull back, to stop working for a season, to really get a gauge on your spiritual health, to see how you're doing, and how your relationship with the Lord is functioning, flourishing or not. Really it's an extended period of time to rest and recalibrate and get ready to come back into ministry filled and rested and ready to go for the next, 5 to 7 years until there's another sabbatical. That's a little bit, but we'll get into more of that as we're chatting here.
Yeah, I think it's important maybe, in a minute I want to play devil's advocate a little bit, just because I think obviously that helps people to kind of think through this. But I think specifically what you said there, we talked about yesterday, the context of being in ministry. It's a unique vocational calling, because somebody might say like, well, I could use some rest as well.
Well, can't we all, right?
Yeah, we all need to rest. But it is something where I can attest to this. We both know this, that in vocational ministry, your life of spirituality is tied together with your vocation uniquely in a way that not everybody's is.
Right.
And so maybe it's akin to maybe a counselor or a Christian counselor whose whole life is to like hear people's problems and help care for their mental health or their soul or whatever it may be. And so I think that, I think that's part of why I think it's so important, because as humans, we get it twisted in our soul, like, and we can be doing things for God and not with God.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there is a uniqueness to pastoral ministry, because you're engaged every week in a spiritual battle for not just your own soul, but like for your church, for the flourishing of God's kingdom. Obviously, yes, the Spirit is leading all of that, but like there is a spiritual battle waging there. But you, as a pastor, you are continually pouring yourself out, from the depths of your soul for your church family, for the person who's sitting across the table from you, who you're listening to. There's a lot of giving of yourself, a lot of sacrifice of even your family at times, and for the good of the church. And so sabbatical becomes necessary for an extended period of time of rejuvenation and rest, to be able to come back and then give yourself fully. So, I mean, if you think about two of the professions with leading levels of burnout are counselors, therapists, counselors, and teachers. As a pastor, you're doing both of those things and more on a weekly basis, and your job is a 7-day-a-week job. That's the reality of it. Yeah, you might take Saturdays off, right? Which is typically the day that I have off. But even then, 7:00 rolls around, we get the boys in bed. 7:45, they're finally down, and I'm getting ready for Sunday. That's and right. So it really is a job that takes over most of your life, and yeah, I mean, it grows weary, and we want to be disciplined as pastors to take at least one day off a week. Typically, that over the last 8 years that I've been in full-time ministry here in Boise, that's about I get about one day off a week for sure, and try to guard that really well. But the pace of things, and there's a reason why churches have instituted sabbaticals as a best practice for their pastors, so that they're not getting burnt out, and that they can thrive in ministry, and it's good for churches. I mean, you don't want to end up in a situation where your pastors are so overworked that they just have to quit, because we lose good men that way. We lose good pastors because they get burnt out. Where if you're able to have periodic times of rest for pastors, and other people, missionaries on the mission field, take sabbaticals as well. It just prolongs their time in ministry.
And I think now, like I was going to say, I don't actually want to play devil's advocate, because I think everything you're saying is so good. And the reality is, if people said, "Oh, I could use some rest," or "My job can't do that," or "That's not the real," I've heard people say that's not the real world. Well, actually, it is, in the sense that, like, teachers, they take 3 months off every year. Now, many of them do get other jobs. That's by necessity or choice, but sometimes they take the whole summer months off. Other professions, like, if you're a business owner and you switch businesses, many times you'll arrange your schedule to, after like 7 years, whatever it may be, to kind of take some time off. And so it's not abnormal, actually, in reality, that people do that. And companies are now realizing, just do a Google TED Talk, sabbatical, and you'll find out that many companies are basically realizing that the best way to keep their like leading employees is to give them these kind of breaks to recalibrate. And so I think that's why Living Stones, I mean, we have a policy, actually. We have, as a church family, a network of churches, we have a sabbatical policy, because we've taken counsel with people like Crosspoint Ministry, which I know you're working with, to make sure that we're doing best practice to keep pastors flourishing. And so, on one level, we can do whatever we want as our own local church, but we also joyfully say we love this policy that Living Stones has.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as part of that, I'll be for those 3 months, I'll be working with a ministry called Crosspoint Ministry, which is they coach and mentor and counsel pastors. And so I've been working with Crosspoint since June, July of 2021, and so I've had the same counselor, coach that whole time. We meet once a month on Zoom, and he just digs into my soul. How are things going? What are challenges I'm facing in my life? And he's been coaching me and mentoring me and counseling me for almost 5 years now.
Wow. Good.
So he's going to be coaching me and leading me through this sabbatical. So I'm going to be meeting with him twice a month to check in, see how things are going. And it's not as if this is just a Josh is checking out and watching movies for 3 months kind of thing. There's deep soul work that's going to take place, and different books I'm going to be reading to aid in that process. But there's also going to be a lot of time for rest and time with the family as well. And then toward the end of that sabbatical, there'll be time for meeting with our elders again, kind of getting my duties that I need to start taking care of when I get back, and getting my head wrapped around reentry and what the next few years are going to look like as well. So
that's great. We were talking yesterday, and I actually feel like, first of all, watch the Lord of the Rings marathon, please. You should do that. But we were talking about this, and I actually feel like you're going to be, you're so driven in some ways, and you like to get things done, and you like to you want to read books, and you want to have a plan. And so I think I'm just excited for you to rest, and I hope, and I'm sure other people are as well. So I think, but we trust as a church, I'm sure everybody trusts that you're going to be like taking this seriously, because that's who you are, and so that's exciting, and it's good to know that there's somebody following you, and then elders will check in.
Yep.
We're trying to finalize exactly how that'll work, but like once a month or whatever that looks like, just to see how we can support you and your family. So.
Yeah. I think something that could be helpful to share too, if you weren't aware, before we merged to become Living Stones, I was scheduled to have a sabbatical at New City. So I've been serving at New City now for almost 8 years. I'm serving in full-time ministry here in Boise for 8 years. And so it was supposed to be like my 7-year sabbatical. It's kind of a time period, every 6 to 7 years or whatever. Yeah. And that was supposed to take place in September, October, November of 2025. But when we merged, that would have only been 3 months after our merger, and it did not make sense for me to be leaving at that point. Yeah. And so we postponed my sabbatical, which I was more than happy to do. Like, I love what's going on at the church right now. I feel just a renewed sense of energy and passion and like excitement for what's going on. But yeah, so we had pushed that off, and so April, May, and June.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, by the way.
It was not. It didn't feel like that hard of a sacrifice in one sense, but like I am feeling in my body and my soul as the closer that date gets, the closer April 6th gets, I'm starting to feel like, oh man, like. Yeah, I'm feeling it in my soul, my body, that like we need some extended time to rest, and step back and get refocused and ready to come back. Right after July 4th weekend, I'll be back and right into preaching that Sunday that I'm coming back, and so
Yeah, well, I think it's good to point out this has been planned for a while. It's not like this is like all of a sudden some crisis intervention or whatever it may be, and it's planned. And I love the timing for a couple reasons. First of all, it sets a precedent, because in next summer I'm going on sabbatical,
you have a sabbatical
as well,
next
and
summer,
I think that it sets a precedent of like, hey, this is how we roll, so to speak, at Living Stones Church. We rest our pastors so they can come back and serve heartily and serve well. And just so everybody knows, like the policy that I'm propagating anyway is 7 years, first sabbatical. I actually think we should do then the second sabbatical after 5 years, because I think I've seen a lot of pastors just have like that second sabbatical, like it's too long of a period to give like a healthy rhythm. So, but that's just something that I believe, and Living Stones is open on how you exactly do your policy. But I think that just to talk about that, like this is something that we hope will bring you rest and care. What else are you looking for in this sabbatical? Like, what are your desires and goals? People can be praying for you. I think that's an important thing that I want to call the church to, is to support you and Carly and the boys in this time, and to pray for you guys, because it's important to know like what is Josh looking for or desiring, and what can we pray for.
So I think a few things. Prayer, I mean, we covet the prayers of our church during this season, during this sabbatical. One of the things that you and I were talking about yesterday is just, and we've talked about this a few times now, I'm very like business oriented in the sense that like I don't play very well. Like I don't create space really in my life for like fun and getting out and doing stuff. And part of that is, some of that has to do with the demands of ministry. When I do have free time, it's like, I just need to sit down and like, rest. But also like, I think in my personality, I've pretty like focused on church and those sort of things. And so creating some space to actually be able to decompress and think about, hey, how can I actually enjoy life a little bit more and with my family, and get out and play and hike and like do things that most people are naturally inclined to do. For some reason I struggle with those kind of things. And so creating space for that and actually learning how to be someone who engages in life that way, rather than just kind of being so focused on things. But then another piece is, and we could probably talk about this all day, but there is a significant amount of, hurt that you experience as a pastor in ministry. And I've experienced my fair share over the last 8 years. We stepped into a church situation when we got to Boise that we were not expecting. And through the process of trying to revitalize the church, which was at that time called Trademark Church, which we renamed New City, there was a significant amount of hurt and challenges. When you're shepherding sheep, the sheep bites you from time to time, and there are some just wounds that I have from the last 8 years in ministry here, and I'm not certainly not trying to play victim to that. I believe that Jesus can and does heal those sort of things. But as part of this sabbatical, one of the things that I'm going to be working on with my counselor is just how do I, now that I've got time to stop the busyness of ministry and to stop the busyness of work and just decompress and let my body relax, my soul relax, those things start to come to the surface, right? The pains and the hurts from time in ministry. And so we want to work on healing from those things, taking time to be counseled and to spend time with the Lord to work through some of those hurts. And and so I do want to be clear, as we're moving into this sabbatical, this is not an emergency, right? I'm not going into this because there's some devastating thing that's happened. Not going into this contemplating my future in ministry. Carly and I feel very confident in the calling and what's going on at Living Stones and wanting to be a part of that. So this is not Josh is thinking through, is he going to quit ministry or take another job somewhere else? That's not what this is about. We're doing this because we want to be around. We want to be part of Living Stones moving forward. And this is a good opportunity to rest and to set ourselves up for the success for the next, 5 to 6 years. Before another sabbatical. So those would be a few things. And then also, maybe that's the last thing to be praying for. There is a pretty significant toll that ministry can take on a family. And I'd say my family's doing well. There's no bitterness in our family toward the church or anything like that. But I do know my boys need me to be around a bit more. And so to have a period of time here where, Nolan's not asking me, Dad, are you going to a meeting? Are you going to a meeting? He's just, every time I get ready, for the day, put my jeans on, he's like, are you going to a meeting? So it's in most of the time I'm saying, I am, buddy. I got, going out, go to work and all that kind of stuff. And work is good, right? We want to train our boys that work is a good thing and it's good to work hard. But just to be able to have some time to really be fully present with them where my mind is not thinking about that next meeting or that next sermon or, thinking about a difficult meeting I might have had or, what we're doing next is a huge gift to our family. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank our church for being supportive of this. I want to thank our elders and our staff for picking up my slack when I'm going to be gone, to give my family this gift for us to be able to decompress and rest together, and enjoy some concentrated time before coming back and jumping into things. And I'm hopeful that this sabbatical will also give me some space to recalibrate and reconsider how my schedule has been over the last several years and how we might be able to adjust it for greater health as well. So just a few things that you can be praying for and thinking about us in regard to over that time.
Yeah, that's good. Now, just a couple of points, clarity. I think, first of all, I wanted to pick up on what you said about, pastors develop hurts in the sense that I think that oftentimes people don't realize, shepherds are sheep too, right? We're just sheep, and we're under the great under-shepherd, Jesus Christ. And if you can think about it, everyone's experienced church hurt and been hurt by somebody in the church, but then if you're, as one of the leaders and one of the pastors, you experience it, not that people are even trying to hurt you all the time, but it's just by nature of it, you're dealing with more people. And we're all messy and we all have the ways that we hurt one another. And so in that, it's only natural to realize that shepherds are going to experience more of the sheep butting up against one another than anybody else. And so I think I just want to clarify that to people. It's not even necessarily some horrible, malicious things that people do. No. It really is just the normal course of people being who we are, and needing the care of Jesus. So that was one thing. The other thing is, I wanted to mention, you mentioned spending time with your family. I know that Carly still has to work, and so I do want to ask people to pray for her in this as well, that she'd be able to find some rest. I know you guys are going to go away for a while and have some vacation, and so we'll be praying for her. And there's a couple of things I'd want to say maybe at the end about that, just in regards to how we can support and bless you guys. But yeah, I'd say like let's be praying for your wife to find rest. But this is primarily for you and your vocational calling and ministry, but at the same time, it's for your whole family. So
yeah, it is. I mean, by way of me having opportunity to rest and pull back for a season, my family's able to have more of me present, and to be there for them, and also again to consider moving forward, how do I recalibrate and continue to be present for them, and even more present moving forward. So those are a few things that that's on our radar, and what we're hoping to glean from this time. And I think maybe the other thing too that I would just clarify, like I feel like I'm heading off into our sabbatical in one sense, feeling in my body and my soul, like it's time. I need this now. I've been in September. I'll have been in full-time vocational ministry for 14 years. I haven't had a sabbatical. To clarify, it's not that I haven't had time off, right? It's not as if like I didn't, get 2-3 weeks off a year, whatever it is that my contract had in there. I never fully took that time off, but that's on me. That's nobody's fault. That's on me for not doing that. But I feel like I am heading into our sabbatical also in a place of like, man, I'm going to really miss being with our church family. And so maybe that's something that we need to talk about as well, is that I won't be for those 3 months. I won't be present on Sunday with our church family because as much as people might want to give me space on a Sunday to worship and just be present, showing up to our building, I'm in work mode. Yeah, I'm in ministry mode. It's absolutely impossible not to want to serve or to jump in or to see something that needs to get taken care of, or even as something as simple as like, oh, let's move that communion table a little bit more this way, or reorganize these chairs so that when people come in and things aren't, you're just constantly thinking about how you can work. And so we'll be attending church. We've got a lot of pastor friends in the area, and so we're going to visit some of their churches and worship with them during that time. We'll also be out of town for some of those Sundays as well. But that, I know that can be hard, and some people have asked us, like, what do you mean? Like, we're not going to see you at church for 3 months? And it'll go by quickly. I think, for everybody, for me and my family and for the church, it'll go by quickly. But then also, this is a complete unplugging from any sort of work. Any sort of ministry, any sort of church talk that could come up. And so our plan is not to completely unplug from our friends. Most of our friends exist in our church family. And so our plan is not to completely unplug from our friends, but one of the things that we would ask that during this season is that if we do get together, that there wouldn't be conversation about church. We can talk about Jesus, we can talk about what God's doing in our lives and those sort of things, but any sort of church talk, whether it's about gospel community, a frustration, or even like, oh my gosh, we had 400 people turn out to church on Sunday, as exciting as that would be. I need a season to completely decompress and take my mind off of the church ministry. And so that's just something for people to be aware of as well. And that's going to be really difficult. It's going to take a solid 2 weeks, they say, typically, at least, to decompress and detox from being in work mode. It takes the average person about 10 days to fully relax on vacation. We tend to try and do these quick little weekenders. That actually contributes to burnout when we're trying to, just go all out on a weekend warrior mentality. Really what we need are prolonged periods of rest. Everybody, not just pastors, but like to take 2 weeks off in the summer to really decompress. And it's really not until day 8 to 10 that the body finally can rest. Our culture is so bad at this. No, we are, absolutely. Other cultures have figured it out, but like as Americans, we're just really like go maximize like everything. And so for the first 2 to 3 weeks of the sabbatical, it really is just like complete detox from email, texting. I'll probably end up with a new phone number for 3 months. Like complete detox from email, all like any sort of computer and tech like just shutting all of that off. Anything that I would normally use for I'm not on social media, but stepping back from the news or YouTube or whatever I might be using, like just complete detox from all of that to be able to refocus my heart and mind on the Lord and get centered on what is truly important in life. So that's another big part of it, just to let people know, that's what we're looking at doing.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, how do we engage with you? And I think prayer is the first place. And then, those friends that you and Carly invite in to some time during that 3 months, that's great. I think that also, like, nobody should feel offended if you're not spending time with them, because at the end of the day, this is an intentional, specific, once in a 7-year period opportunity for you to totally unplug. And I think as we're talking about this, I'm sure that other people can now maybe recognize their own rhythms and maybe consider like how they do their vacations and how they do and see how they could consider like their own soul and their own care for their own soul, and how we can help them with that too. But I think that for you, I'm jealous for you to have this time totally unplugged. And yes, one of the concepts of Sabbath is that you find what you delight in, right? And so for sabbatical, like, we would want you to just find what you delight in rather than what other people want you to delight in. I think that's pastors typically are doing what everybody else needs and serving other people's needs, which is right and good. That's
that is the role, right, of a pastor, for sure.
But I think at the same time, then it's, one pastor friend of mine said, this was the one time where I got to decide not what anybody else wanted to do, but what I wanted to do. And that could sound selfish, except that that's never what you do. So I think I'm excited for you to do that. So I hope you don't feel any sense of, and I hope our church doesn't make you feel any sense of, hey, this isn't fair. We don't get to be with you, because at the end of the day, this is the time for you to do what you want to do, And so happy for that.
Yeah, thank you. And, obviously we'll chat about this a little bit more next summer when you're going to have an opportunity to be gone. But I think one of the things that I want to encourage our church in is that me taking a sabbatical this summer, you taking a sabbatical next summer, we have not had to like reach out to other churches to support, because we have a capable staff. Yeah. We have capable and well-trained elders, and we have another full-time pastor to pick up the load. So like when you're gone next summer, I'm going to be doing a majority of the preaching. That's right, that's great. And I'm excited for that season. When I'm gone here, like you guys are going to be able to pick up my slack and the preaching that I would normally be doing every few weeks. Like we've got other people who can step into that. We've got a couple guest preachers who are going to come, but you're going to be doing a majority of that. And so our church is well supplied in that way to be able to work through this. And, you had mentioned recently, one of the things that you're looking forward to is just continuing to get to know people who joined from New City, because they've been still relying on me in a lot of ways, because I am their pastor. But what it does is it kind of removes me from the equation for a few months, and will push them toward you to be able to get to know you better, spend some time with you, and which is really cool. So I think in the long run, our church will benefit from us being able to do this over the next couple of years, and other leaders are going to be able to step up and fill those gaps, which is really important for the church as well. So I think it's not just myself who will benefit from a sabbatical, it's the entire church and the longevity of the ministry. The longer that we can have men serving in ministry as pastors, the better they're going to be at what they're doing. The better they're going to be at preaching and counseling and leading and serving. It's, I think, one of the most discouraging things right now, and I don't know a person who doesn't know a pastor who hasn't had to quit because of burnout. Like it is, and especially I think the COVID pandemic and having to navigate those challenges only exacerbated the problem. So I have a number of friends. I mean, close to probably 8, 9, 10 friends who had to quit ministry because they were so burnt out in light of what happened during COVID. It really destroyed a lot of pastors, unfortunately.
And sadly, I think that some people don't care about that, and other people think like, well, maybe we don't need as many pastors, and it's all just about, the priesthood of believers. And I mean, that's a big movement right now with certain types of movements in Christianity. And I'd say, like, sounds good until you need one, right?
Yeah.
And all I'd say is, like, in my experience as a pastor, like, sounds good, but then people always come back and always need pastors.
Yeah.
And so God designed the church for a reason.
I was going to say, God in his infinite wisdom gave fallible men as pastors to the church to care for the church. And so I think it's within the wisdom of the church to take these principles. We haven't talked about this too much, but these sabbatical principles, which are built into the very fabric of creation, right? God established a day of rest, which we ought to continue to live into, not legalistically, but joyfully. As Jesus said, the Sabbath is given for man, right? Not man, man was not made for the Sabbath. And so we have this joyful principle to step into. The land was given rest every 7 years, and slaves were set free. There was all sorts of things. You see these patterns of rest and rejuvenation and celebration that take place in the life of the church. And it's anyone who's able to take an extended period of rest from their job ought to do that.
That's
right? To be able to go back into that from a place of joy and contentment, and just like it's built into the fabric of how God has designed the universe to function. Yeah,
other people do that. They build up their PTO for like 5 years, and then they take
Carly's been doing that. Just to say, like, she's been building up her PTO, knowing that I was going to take a sabbatical, and so she will be able to take some time off, not the whole time, but a good amount of time with that as well. So
okay, well, we better conclude this.
A little long-winded here.
Sure, it's a great topic. It's good for the church. For those that watch the whole thing or get pieces of it, I think it's going to be really good. And we'll cover this at our church family meeting on Sunday a little bit as well. But so talking about practicals now, a couple of things. First of all, in case people wonder, yes, we're paying you during this time your normal salary. Obviously, we have to, and you need your normal sustenance and whatever. And then there's an additional amount that actually you guys had saved up at New City that is there for you. But at the same time, again, maybe I actually want to. I'm always one to call for things that are good, and so if there's people that feel led to give a gift to you, I mean, that's something that can happen during this time, so that you guys could do something extra special in this time of sabbatical. Man, if there were some gifts that came in that enabled Carly to take another week off, that would be great. Again, I don't know how that works with her PTO, but all I'd say is, like, hey, let's pray. Let's honor you in the way that we engage, not talking about church, honoring your choices to, like, hang out with who you want to hang out with and not feeling offended by that. And let's support you in any way possible, and so hopefully, and I trust that our church is going to come alongside and do that, and it's going to be a great experience for you and for Carly and Nolan and Connor, and I think that's going to be good. And then last thing to mention, I think you kind of alluded to this already, but Livingstone's policy is that if you take a sabbatical, you have to come back and serve for at least 2 years at the church.
So, that was the plan. No plans to step away at all.
Guys, at church, listen, we've got him locked in for another couple of years. That's the good news.
Yeah, dude, of course. But I do want to be clear. Like, that's not what this sabbatical is about. But it is in the contract. If I do take a sabbatical, I have to come back and work for 2 years. So, anyway. But anything else you want to say before we wrap up? No, that's good. I mean, we've talked a while here, but I'm happy to chat about it. If there's anyone who has other questions, we're happy to take those. But I feel like we've covered a lot of our bases here. Good. All right. Well, Livingstone's Church, be praying for the Hibbert family, for Josh, and ultimately be praying that our church would continue to grow in resting in Christ, and all of us would find our joy and our rest and our sabbatical and Sabbath in Him, and that this time for Josh would just be an extension of that and a growth in that. So if you guys have any questions, talk to Josh. I'm happy to answer them as well. Yeah. And I'm excited to, as Josh said, get to know some people that maybe I haven't had a chance to. Again, you're welcome to go to any of our pastors, lay pastors, while Josh is on sabbatical. But I personally would love to get to know people that I haven't yet better in this time. I think it's a great opportunity that way. So God bless you guys, and we'll talk soon.